Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. This week's weekly vlog is about 3 things I've realized about myself after my breakup that I've had. I'm excited to share it with you guys, and you guys, just a quick FYI, this video is only about me and myself. It is going to protect the privacy of anybody that I've dated out there, and I hope you guys are doing well. If you're also going through a breakup or a tough time, please hang in there, and I hope this video will help you as well. Here we go. Oh, by the way, I totally forgot to say, I also do makeup as I, talk about what I figured out about myself. So I hope you guys enjoy that as well. And if you want to see how I got this look, you better watch this video. Here we go. Obviously, this is not the easiest topic, but the other night I was thinking about literally how much I have changed and how much I have figured out throughout this whole process that I thought I should share it on YouTube. So anybody else who I know are also going through breakup, they can also benefit from it. Probably every relationship I've had, I've been always told that I am very hard to deal with. Now, if you're like, hey Sarah, you're like such a bubbly person, how can you be so hard to deal with? Well, I would say try dating me, because you also get to date the actual Sarah side, who is also a little bit negative and is dealing with a lot of anxiety. Number one thing I realized about myself after my breakup, I'm very needy, but not in like a materialistic way. I'm more of like in an attention way. Like, I really want that person to give me all of their attention, and I want to give all my attention to them as much as I can. But I'm like needy in a way, like every holiday needs to be celebrated, everything needs to be planned. I even like love small notes, like cheesy things like that, where I really need that person's attention and their way of always reassuring me that this love is still doing good and like they still love me. And another way of saying that I need a lot of attention is effort. And effort could be seen in many different things, and your definition of effort might be way different than my definition of effort. So if you're also dealing with like breakup, you should really figure that out. But mine is literally what I said, like small details, small little things, small notes, planning every date, and going on adventures together. And it could literally be a walk in the park. I would love it if it's like a little bit more adventurous. And yeah, so small little things, and I am very needy. That's what I figured out, that Sarah is like super duper needy. And I need to, of course, provide for myself and meet those needs by myself. But at the same time, I really want a lot of reassurance, and I just really need, like, I get really attached to that person, and I wanna be their everything all the time, basically. Now, is that toxic or not? I don't know. Maybe you guys can comment down below if that is actually toxic. But I find it very cute if somebody's super obsessed with me and they wanna, celebrate life with me. Like, they are excited about the same things I'm excited about, and they really just wanna, be with me. I do want my relationship to feel like the first date every time I go on a date with them. Another thing I realized about myself after my breakup is that I let anxiety on the other person, and that is not good. That could just be my age and the time of my life at the moment, where I'm just like figuring things out, and I've heard that when you're in your 20s, your anxiety is a little bit higher because you're just, figuring things out. And I think that's okay, but one thing have done in my past relationships is that I let anxiety onto the other person. So let's say if I'm experiencing anxiety, I give him a call right away, and I'm like, oh my god, like this is happening, like what do? I really need help, this, that. Versus now that I'm more independent on myself, I'm like, you know what, Sarah, like it's okay, you can breathe right now, everything's okay, you're gonna be on time, your car's not gonna explode, everything's okay. So that's another thing I've realized. Now, there's a limit where obviously your significant other can help you through your anxieties, and they should be your safe spot, you know, like you should be okay to share with them, like, hey, I'm having anxiety, can you help me? But in a way that I've done it in the past is that even if I'm having anxiety at like 2 a.m., which for some reason I did when I was in like going to school and I was sleeping alone in my room and my parents weren't around me, which I sound like a big baby, but that's just how I was. It's just I would call that person at 2 a.m. and I would like, hey, I'm having anxiety, like, can you talk to me? And I just don't think that is healthy. That's not something healthy to do, because I believe I should be able to control my own anxiety and be able to calm myself down and not have that person go through that with me, you know, because they already have their own anxieties as well. Okay, number 3, third thing I realized about myself after my breakup. Oh my god, this is like roasting myself in front of the camera, but here we go. I'm picky, and picky on the other person because they're mine. So like, let's say I find a person that I love a lot, I get picky, I want them to stay healthy, I want them to like be happy all the time, I want them to have the best time, I want them to be their best, and I just want to push them to be at their greatest. And that brings problems. Here's why. Because my way of staying healthy might not be the same way as the other person's way of staying healthy, or might not even be in that person's interest. Let's say my way of staying healthy is to, you know, run every Sunday morning, let's say. And now if this person is not interested in running every Sunday, then now I'm like, okay, this is the way I think you should stay healthy, you should run with me on Sundays, and we should do this. You know what I'm saying? So I become that person where I want that person to be healthy and happy and do things the exact same way that I think is the right way. It all just comes from a good place, and I know that about myself. I always want a person to be healthy and be happy and be their best. Now, another thing of like that person being their best, it's the hardest, because if I tell them to, hey, if you want to be your best, you gotta do this. Sometimes in men, in particularly, you take away their, you know, masculine energy, and then, you know, it's not right. It's not right to tell, in any other words, it's not right to tell another person to do things, you know, because you think it's healthy. Now that leads me to number 4 of my point. You gotta fall in love with who they are right now. And I feel like that's the number 1 problem in America, and why divorce is so high, because people have this idea that this person is gonna become this, you know, this other person. But it's not the case, because when I look at myself, you guys, I've literally been the same person since I was born. I've always overworked, I've always cleaned, I've always stayed tidy, I've always been picky, and I've always wanted things to be my way, and I've always wanted success. Literally, that's all I work for in my life. I just work for success, and fun has never been my priority ever. As you can see, I'm working on a Sunday. That person doesn't change, their habit doesn't change. And one thing I've found out is that, let's say this person doesn't like running, okay? And at some point of their life, they decide they're gonna run, and they, you know, they commit to that, and they do that for a while. But at the end of their actual life, their career, whatever, they will still go back to doing what they usually did. Now, of course, people change, people make priorities, but it's just really hard, because life itself is hard enough for us to keep holding on to it, on top of the things that we want to change in our life, and on top of the things that we've learned as a kid. And it's just, it's hard to find that balance, especially when you have kids and life just gets tough. And that's just what I figured out throughout people that I've seen around me. So now, tying number 3 and number 4 together, which I want to remind you, number 3 was that I'm picky, and number 4 was that you gotta fall in love with who they are now, is that just kind of putting those 2 together, I gotta really, really dig into finding this person who is what I want in here, or at some point meet those standards, and fall in love with who they are rather than their idea of, oh my god, like one day they might, you know, start running on Sundays. So another thing I've also figured out, I don't know who came up with this whole opposites attract. Opposites might attract, but they might not last. Like at the end of the day, what I figured after my relationships is that I want that person to have similarities with me. And yeah, attraction might be there, but how do you survive with the person who's not similar or does not have similar interests as you? If I have an interest in running on Sundays, let's say, which you guys, this is totally an example, that wasn't the case at all. If I have that interest to run on Sunday mornings, then I probably want my partner to also have that interest and come and enjoy that run with me. So then in that case, I can't force somebody else to change themselves to come and run with me on Sunday mornings. I gotta find a person who would actually enjoy running on Sunday morning. Another thing I've been told is that the dating world sucks. And now it's all about the hookup culture. Believe that, you guys. Please believe that. That is literally it. And if you have a person right now next to you, please appreciate them, please respect them, and please don't look around. Like there's literally nothing out there. Don't look around. Like whoever that you got, stay with that person, cherish that person, and make things work. So those were my 3 points, and I'm not still done with my makeup. I'm gonna add a little bit more. So number 1 was that I'm very needy. That's what I figured out. Number 2 was that I have anxiety and I need to not let that ruin the other person's day. And number 3 is I'm picky, so I gotta really find the one that I want myself that would suit my needs and my box that I've created in my head. Now, is that a good thing or a bad thing? I'll let you know. If I don't find the one, then guess who's a single aunt? So, and sober aunt somehow. And number 4, which I kind of connected it with number 3, you gotta fall in love with the person as the person they are right now because they're not changing. Yep, some habits might change, but you know, the core of who they are still stays who they are. You gotta love that core person, you know? The thing is that I have an example of an aunt who I've lost. She had the biggest heart in this world. This woman loved everybody. Like, I don't care who did her wrong. She loved that person. She would never disrespect the person. She would never talk bad about a person. Again, I have an example of my parents and her, who she just had the biggest heart, and thankfully she has 2 daughters who are literally the same as her, but that just keeps me going in life. And I can't cry with makeup on, you guys. I can't cry, but that gets me through life. And I know that I have an example and a role model to just literally love everybody, and for my own health's sake, keep a very positive attitude in my heart, in my head, because like at the end of the day, we're all humans and we all live for the same goal, to survive. I hope that future Sarah knows that she's done her best with everything. I'm not gonna cry because I can't. She still continues to be her best because I know that she's gonna be the greatest wife and greatest mother and greatest whatever that she wants to be out there. With that said, let's wrap this video up. I hope you guys enjoyed this weekly vlog. I'm gonna do my best to post more things like this where I'm just honest in front of the camera and I talk to you guys about things I figured out about myself, because honestly, the future Sarah would definitely want to know what I figured out in my 20s, probably, hopefully. We'll see. With that said, I hope you guys had a good week so far. Hang in there and wait on the next YouTube video that I'll be posting next week on Tuesday. Now, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and comment down below if you could relate to any of the things that I've said. And if you have any advice for me, that would also be helpful. Bye!